Talking about Tolkien, Ben. We are on Chapter 7, Beorn to be Wild. I'm Nate, you're Ben. Let's do it!
So how do you pronounce his name? This is going to be the biggest contentious point of the episode.
Beorn.
And why do you pronounce it that way? What's your logic? Walk me through it.
It's B-E-O-R-N. Beorn.
Beorn?
Is it Beorn?
So,
Are you going to say that?
I don't know.
I actually thought it was spelled with a J until I went back and reread this.
It would be if it was using Old Norse.
Yeah, if he were using his source material.
Well, that's the trick. So I'm going to say, I think it's somewhere between Beorn and Beorn.
Well, I'm going to call him Beorn.
Bjorn,
you're not going to stop me.
I'm going to call him Beorn. Bjorn is the same word in Old Norse. Both of them mean bear. They're both descended from the same root. But yeah, Beorn, for whatever reason, he used the Old English, which I guess means he's more closely related to the Rohirrim. That's an interesting conundrum there.
Sure. Why not?
But yeah.
So last time, Ben.
So last time, yes.
There were some eagles, and they saved the day.
They did.
Now this time we're out of those fucking mountains. And yeah, the eagles, they're dropping off our friends, the Hobbit, the wizard, and a bunch of dwarves, just a sack of dwarves. And apparently, Ben, this is a little spoiler the book drops. There's going to be something called a Battle of Five Armies, and the King of the Eagles is going to get involved in that somehow and get like a crown from the dwarves.
Yeah, I wonder what that could be. I wonder where we would find 5 armies, especially since there's only 15 people Thorin could conjure together to take back his homeland. But
yeah, that's kind of like an army. You know.
Yeah, but that's not what this chapter's about. The eagles are going to have to drop them somewhere. They can't take them all the way to the human village, but they can take them to the middle of nowhere, where Gandalf knows this one guy.
Yeah. He's like, I know this guy who hates goblins and thus might not hate us. We gotta go see him right now, though, because during the day, he's a grumpy guy. At night, he's an angry bear.
You know, the chapter title is Queer Lodgings. And there's a lot of things Tolkien might have appreciated about the evolution of language. I don't know if this is one of them, but the notion of an angry bear living in queer lodgings, it means something else in 2024 than I think anything he could have envisioned.
Yeah, but they didn't have gay people in Tolkien's time, so how is he to know? So, interestingly enough, so Gandalf is like, all right, we're going to go find this guy. His name is Beorn. Shut up. That's how that's pronounced. And also, I'm going to be leaving you guys soon. Yep, I've gone further east with you than I ever expected. But Ben, I thought his goal was further east from where they are right now, even. Isn't it Mirkwood that's his goal, Ben?
I think it's the southern part. Well, okay, so like southeast.
Yeah, but he made it sound like he went further east with the dwarves than he ever expected to.
Yeah, I think he meant to break off and start heading south.
Oh, so he was planning like, all right, now that we're out of the mountains on the original trail we picked, I'm going to leave, you keep going.
Yeah. Well, I also think he doesn't really want them to know what he's doing, and maybe having a bunch of dwarves and Bilbo for a mission where we're going to fight a necromancer, whatever that might be. Especially Bilbo, like especially right now. Like especially taking Bilbo right to the necromancer.
Bilbo would be a really good idea, though. He has that invisible ring. He could just
sneak right by the necromancer, right? Hit him in the back of the head with a rock, he could.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Gandalf should have considered that. But no.
He was a fool not to.
Tolkien has said in his letters that the necromancer, A, was never intended to be Sauron. B, was just an excuse to get Gandalf to leave the party because Gandalf was too powerful. He's the get out of jail free card of this whole thing. He's already like bailed them out, 2 or 3 times now? The trolls, the goblins, and then the goblins and the wargs.
Got them. Yeah, and he got them to Elrond, and he's gonna get them to Beorn. So yeah, he's bailed them out 3 times, and he got them hotels the other 2 times.
Yeah, so it's time for them to leave the nest, so to speak. Not just because they leave a literal nest in this one. They got to spread their wings and fly. Again, a metaphor, but they do also fly on the wings of eagles.
The necromancer, Ben, shouldn't he be like bringing dead things back to life?
Again,
that's what necromancer does.
I don't think he really thought about it. He could also be speaking with the dead. That's a thing necromancers do.
Yeah, did he ask them where his fucking ring was?
Probably. That's probably what he's doing. He's probably just going up to every corpse he can dig up from Isildur's men. Where was the ring? Where was the ring? Where are they? I also think it's weird that he calls him a necromancer when that's Latin, right?
I don't know. Is it Latin?
That's like the first random Latin, I think. Latin or Greek or something. What is necro? A wound would be necrotic. We don't use Old Norse for that terminology.
Greek. The Greek word at the root of necromancer is necromante.
Yeah, so it's Greek then. So he's using random Greek now. That's how you know it doesn't really fit with the world. Where did Gandalf pull a random Greek word? While we're visiting Beorn. What should it have been? I don't know. I don't know if I guess it would be like a trollkonu or something. Or trollkana. Troll something.
Oh, I found an old English word, but I don't want to say
No, don't go there. Yeah.
It looks like I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's a Norse version of that. Grogglder.
I'm not familiar with that one. But yeah, he's got to go fight the necromancer. So he's going to...
Sounds like you're going to gargle someone's...
They got to resupply. We're going to get fresh ponies. We're going to get talking dogs. We're going to get a horse.
But first, guys, we need to approach him. Like, he doesn't usually have guests. We've got to have a plan for how we're going to approach him because he's a very irritable man. A lot of things really put a B in his Bjornit. So we've got to, let's go 2 by 2, okay? Every 5 minutes, just 2 more of you just show up.
Can I also
Bomber,
say, I don't think of
Bomber,
myself...
you're really fat.
I don't think of myself as an angry man, but, people have done this to me.
They've just gradually shown up at your house.
Yeah, with guests when guests weren't specified.
Yeah, you were like, "Hey, Nate has come to visit for the first time," and there was a guy who was like, "All right, I'm just gonna live at your house for the next half a week."
Yeah,
I'm gonna call into work and never go home.
Yeah, he's like, "Please leave." But it's happened to me on multiple occasions where people are just slowly invite more people, and it's like, "Oh, do you mind if so-and-so comes?" It's like, "No, I don't mind." And then so-and-so is like, "Do you mind if so-and-so comes?" And I'm like, "I'm starting to, yeah." But it's like in Scott Pilgrim, they have a cultivated party. This guest list is carefully planned. And I was talking to a guy about a thing. I don't want to give too many details, but we were arranging an event, let's say. And I mentioned "Oh, do you want to invite so-and-so to this? He's into the thing we're doing at this event." And he's like, "No, it's a cultivated list." He's like, "I specifically hand-selected a group of people I thought would go along well together." And I was like, "You know what? I can't believe you can just do that." and you can just be so open about it, and that's so freeing, and I love you, and I'm going to do that from now on with everything. If somebody asks if so-and-so can come, I'm just going to be like, no. It's a cultivated guest
list.
You have made the cut. I'm complimenting you, but I'm also saying your friend can't come. But Gandalf is the master of party fouls. So he just brings a whole bunch of people and Bomber.
And yes, like American Airlines. He's like, Bomber, you're really fat. You count as 2 people. Sorry, you're going to have to buy 2 seats on this.
It was a different time. Body shaming was fine. And
so mean.
You want to know what the meanest thing is going to be? The meanest thing would be ask Tolkien to draw me a picture of Bomber. How fat do you think this guy is? And I bet it's going to be slimmer than many of us.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Look at this disgustingly fat man. He's 20 pounds overweight. But Bomber, to his credit, gets fed up with this body shaming and just shows up on his own anyway. He doesn't wait to be like lumped in as 2 people. He just shows up with the last 2. He's like, screw you, Gandalf.
Yeah, Gandalf is recounting the story to Beorn, and he's just gradually adding people. He's like, all right, so we took off, just the 4 of us, and he's like, wait a minute, there's only 2 of you. Oh yeah, here's Thorin and Keely. And anyway, so this troop is going off on these ponies. He's like, whoa, hold on, a troop isn't 4 people, Gandalf, you silly. And he's like, yeah, that's right, here's some more people. Anyway, our infestation of dwarves. And he's like, whoa, an infestation of dwarves? That's not 6 people. And then, at the end, he's like, and then, like, we've got this really fat dwarf. Oh, he's already here.
Yeah, Gandalf, I'm already here. What were you saying about my characteristics? What is my defining trait, Gandalf?
You're fat.
Say one thing about me, Gandalf. Say one thing you know about me that isn't my name and my weight.
Yeah.
We've been traveling together for 3 months.
Literally, you only know 2 things about me, you bastard.
Yeah, he's not the lovable grandfather anymore now. Gandalf's a bigot. Cancel Gandalf.
So, also, skin changer. Ben, explain. Is Beorn the only skin changer? What is this?
No. In Tolkien's mythology?
Yeah.
No, there's the Beornings. There's a whole bunch of them. It's not really clear like what he is though.
Are they? Is all their name Beorn?
No, they're just like his people.
Tom Bjornbadillo.
No, they're just his people. He again. Hobbit's not supposed to be part of the mythology, so he throws out a lot of stuff that doesn't fit with the rest. But there is a Norse myth that this is inspired by. We will talk about that after the summary. He mentions that Beorn is either from somewhere else or he's been here for a long time. Like his people have just been in these lands.
Like Tom Bjornbadil.
Not quite
he
that
was just kind of here.
Because Beorn is a man. He is mortal. He is not an elf. He is a human being.
But he's a skin changer.
His fate is the fate of men.
Okay. And he also, I need to point out, he's on a ranch, so Skin Changer Ranch, and it's got, like, dogs that walk on their hind legs.
Oh my god! He's on Skin Changer Ranch. Oh no. That's so true, and I never even thought of it. I don't know anyone who has ever made this connection before. I don't know. I doubt you're the first, but like, why are more people not talking about this? Beorn is a skin changer and he lives on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. Oh my god. Oof. That's going to take me a little while to process. I don't even know what I want to say about that. But no, Beorn is a man. His fate is the fate of men. He may live a while, but he doesn't live forever. He was born. He will die. What happens to his soul Only Eru knows. Hobbits, for that matter, are also men. I don't know if we mentioned that in the org chart.
Did. What happens to the bear in his soul, since bears are godless, soulless beings that don't go anywhere after they die, as we established last episode?
Nothing.
Does Beorn have like half a soul?
No. We'll talk about that when we talk about the myth. How about that? Because the myth is going to shed a lot of light onto some of those questions. Because I will tell you this: in being true to the myth introduces a whole lot of questions and answers none of them, and then everybody dies.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So the dwarves, they all crash on Beorn's couch for a little bit. They eat honey like their Pooh Bear.
Beorn is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
He does not eat
the animals on that ranch who walk on two legs, when they want to anyway. They're his friends or servants or something. Underlings. He don't eat them.
I think he pays them. Probably not in like money, but
honey.
Here's an interesting point. What do the dogs eat?
They eat kibble, Ben.
Yeah, that.
Duh.
No, they don't. But yeah, it's all just bread and honey, and he's jacked. By the way, he is a jacked man. Big.
We established this is the old times, Ben, where if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you just need to smoke a few cigars and carry your breakfast to the table every day. So
I kind of wonder though, because he doesn't even carry his breakfast. The dogs do that, but I kind of wonder, does bear form Beorn eat the goblins he kills?
I don't know.
Think about that.
Why don't you ask him? I'm sure that won't make him angry.
That'd probably make him angry. So no, Gandalf's telling a story, slowly introducing more party guests, which is a foul.
Yeah, and then they crash on his couch, and every night Bilbo hears bears outside. Just a congregation of bears.
That's what a group of bears is called.
Yes, a murder of bears.
A symphony of bears.
Or one morning, he's like, "Good Beorning. I went out to the mountain. I've confirmed your story about how you killed the Goblin King, and those goblins are still kind of pissed. They're still looking for you. And if they don't find you soon, they might send their whole force after you. So you gotta, go if you're gonna get to that lonely mountain. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna pack all your shit on the... I'm gonna give you a bunch of, salty nuts, first of all. Sorry. But I'll give you some other food. And I'm sending you into the forest with my ponies, but once you get to the forest, you send those back, okay? Those are my ponies. And a few words of advice, right? Don't go off the path. Let me tell you this a few times, and Gandalf will also tell you a few times. Don't go off the path in Mirkwood. What are we not going to do when we get into Mirkwood? Go off the path. Exactly. All right, cool. Glad we're all on the same page. I'm sure you're not going to go off the path. Also, there's a black magic stream in Mirkwood. And don't dip in that. It's bad. You're going to get, hallucinogenic, Let's say, for example, one member of your party happens to be way heavier and fatter than the rest of you, and,
You son of a bitch.
You might want to come up with a way for him to get across that stream without falling into it.
You hairy motherfucker.
And being a disgrace. Basically just a disgrace to all of you. So, anyway,
I
goblins,
knit.
They're cut.
That's my hobby. I knit. That you never noticed.
What was that? What was that, Bomber?
I said I knit, you fuck.
I didn't hear you. Okay, well, I don't know. He's saying something back there. I can't hear him.
Probably asking if we have a menu.
Yeah. Oh, that Bomber, always eating. So yeah, the goblins, they're gonna prevent you from going around Mirkwood, and it's gonna be hundreds of miles in either direction. You don't got the time. You're going through it. So don't go off the path. Remember that? Remember when I said don't go off the path? Don't go off the path. So they start heading towards Mirkwood every night. Bilbo sees a bear just off in the distance, just chilling out, watching them. And Tolkien uses a lot of really great language, like it's a giant frowning wall. There aren't any deer, fewer birds singing. Inside Mirkwood, it looks like nighttime, even though it's day outside of it.
Frustratingly, he says you don't want to go around to the north because there's goblins, hobgoblins, and orcs, which makes it very hard for me to keep saying they're the same thing when you refer to them as three different things. But they are the same thing.
Yeah. What are hobgoblins, Ben?
Retconned.
What are hobgoblins? I feel like they're larger goblins. Is that right?
They are in D&D, right?
I think they are. I think they are larger goblins in D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just a big goblin. Yeah. Armor class 18. Wow, that's a big goblin.
Jesus. What?
Yeah.
They're wearing like full plate?
Yeah, they are. Well, in the picture, he's wearing full plate.
Jesus. So hobgoblins, are they even bigger than orcs? Where does the green goblin come in? Where does he fit in all this?
Well, that's Norman Osborn. He won't be born until the Fourth Age.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So yeah, they want to take those ponies in, but Gandalf is like, yeah, no, that'd be really stupid, and a werebear would maul you all to death.
Oh, speaking of D&D, I actually had in my notes, Gandalf's giving me big Dungeon Master vibes, and the dwarves are giving me big every party I've ever had vibes. When they're like, okay, so this is Beorn. He's giving you his ponies. You've already not had a good run with ponies, and you told him about that. Beorn can turn into a bear, but even if he weren't, he could still rip you in half with his bare hands. That's not a pun. He could rip you in half with his naked hands. Yeah. You would be lucky to be killed by the bear. Let's just put it that way. So, when he says, I'm lending you a pony, you're giving that pony back, right? And then the player's like, fuck him. He's not here. It's like Bilbo just saw him. He is here.
Bilbo rolled a perception check last night and saw a big fucking bear just chilling out nearby. He's here.
And they're like, oh, well, but there's just that one player that always wants to push it, Jared.
God damn it, Bomber.
You know, I have a niece who I love. She's like a daughter to me. It's my whole world. And because of her, I have actually gone full vegan. I don't even eat meat anymore. But you didn't know that, did you? You know, I mean, I am a little cursed because Oreos are vegan. Bomber. But, you know, I'm trying, okay? I'm trying to self-improve. I'm taking a class when we get it back. I'm trying to use this gold to go back to college.
He's so heavy. Oh, he had to have 2 horses strapped together to ride out.
I rode a pony like everybody else.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Gandalf's the only one who has a horse.
All right.
Gandalf still weighs more than me. He's just a normal man. He still weighs more than me.
Oh, all right, everyone. We gotta stop listening to Bombers talking about food. He's making me hungry. Let's just go into this deadly dark forest now.
And Gandalf's like, yeah, you do that. Bye.
And then he turns around one more time and says, so you're not going off that path, right? And that's the end. Ben, do I make you Beorny?
No. I've never been less Beorny.
That's okay. I shouldn't have even asked. I'm a Beorn again Christian. Anyway, Ben, let's go into the lore.
Do you have these written down?
I had a bunch of them written down.
You son of a bitch. Oh, this is my least favorite episode we've done. Okay. I don't have a lot to say about this chapter, except obviously Beorn is inspired by a Norse figure named Beorn.
What?
I don't know the best way for you to find this. So the book I read is 2 sagas of mythical heroes, Hervor and Heydrich, and Hrolf Kraki and his champions. translated by Jackson Crawford.
Okay.
It's 2 sagas, same book.
Oh my god, there's a card game where when counting the number of dwarf characters you control, Bomber counts as 2. Oh my god, Jesus.
Like I said, I'm just trying to improve myself. I went through a divorce a little while ago, and yeah, maybe I turned to food as comfort, but I don't know if any of you have noticed, I don't drink. You have all been
counts as 2.
chugging ale this entire time. I don't drink, actually. I don't even smoke a pipe. I'm really trying to look after my health. It's just, I guess it's not about that.
Got it. There's 14 dwarves now. Got it. Anyway, what's with the...
Okay, so the saga we're looking at... The saga we're looking at is called Hrolf's Saga Kraka.
Is that where he got Carrack from? Karak?
This is the story of King Hrolf and his champions. It is a very fun saga. If you haven't read any Norse sagas, I will say this one is like up there in terms of ease of access. They're just a bunch of bros on a quest to be like king of everything, and it doesn't work out. Like most Norse sagas, it doesn't work out. They're king for a while, but then there's obviously they die in battle because that's the way you'd want to do that. But one of the guys who teams up with Rolf is Bodvar Bjarki. Now, right in the middle of the saga, story stops dead. To
talk about how fat Bomber is. Jesus Christ, guys. We get it. Like, he's not that fat, okay? Like, he's a little larger than the rest of the... Like, god damn, even the Norse are getting in on it.
Bomber's just writing
Not
a
cool.
letter to HR right now. Anyway, so story stops dead in the middle for a little background about Bjarki. Now, Bjarki's father was Beorn, which means bear.
Okay. What does Bjarki mean?
Oh god, it does.
Little bear?
It does mean something like that. Warlike little bear. Are you happy now?
I am, Ben.
All right.
It's the one thing that would truly make me happy, and now I have it.
Awesome. So, Beorn was a prince who was cursed to spend his days as a bear during the night, or he was cursed to spend his days as a bear, and during the night, he turns back into a human. So, it's a reverse Beorn. Beorn spends his nights as a bear and his days as a human. Beorn spends his days as a bear and his nights as a man. So,
do they have a choice in the matter? Do either of them?
It seems weird because it seems like I don't know. Gandalf seems to hint that Beorn does not, but Beorn also does sometimes transform. We'll figure it out. So, Beorn falls in love with a woman named Bera. Bera eventually learns about his curse, but stays with him anyway.
Hold on, back up. Her name is what?
Bera.
All right. Why not?
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody's writing stuff down. There's no recording software.
We need to know. We need to remember. All
the
right.
names need to be memorized.
Bera and Warbear.
We'll wait until you find out what their children are named, okay? So just hold on.
Okay.
So Bera, her father, is goaded by the woman who originally cursed Beorn to kill the bear man who has, quote unquote, kidnapped his daughter. Beorn foresees his death using the mystical power of Norse saga wisdom, and he tells Bera that she's pregnant because he saw that with his psychic powers, and that he's going to be killed, and she needs to pretend to celebrate his death, but do not eat anything at the celebration banquet. Beorn is then killed, and his bear body is roasted for the feast, but Bera is forced to eat one bite. And that probably cursed her children. I think it's implied her children come out odd. She has 3...
How is she forced to eat a bite?
Basically the king makes her. She has to pretend that like she's not a willing partner in this, I think, and the king's like, "Eat it. Try it. Come on. You're acting kind of suspicious." And so she tries one bite.
And she didn't spit it out later. What a fucking loser.
Okay, so Bear has 3 children.
She deserves that curse, Ben.
The first
#justice for Beorn.
The first child is Elkfrothy.
All right, elk frother. It's like an elk, and it's the frothy milk.
Do you think you're joking?
Latte.
I'm just asking.
I think I am. Am I not?
No. So in the Crawford translation, he translates this as Moosefrothy.
Even better, a delicious moose. Like
Elkfrothy is an elk from the waist down.
all right, I don't know how elks and bears are related, but okay.
Then their second son is Thorir, who has...
Did she have twins?
No. Maybe? I guess, yeah, I guess they would have had to be triplets.
Yeah, how else?
Yeah, they're triplets.
Okay,
so the next one out is Thorir, who has the feet...
Oh, is he going to be the dwarf? Oh.
Of a dog.
I thought Thoror was one of the...
This is Thorir.
Thorir. Okay, I can see how I'm wrong. All right.
And finally, there is Bodvar Bjarki, who is completely normal.
Yeah, and his name also seems fancier, so...
So, Hrolf and
Okay.
Bjarki, they team up, they have some adventures, and one day, on the way back from battle, Rolf runs into a mysterious one-eyed farmer named Ronnie.
No.
And
he's not like, what was it? Smart Stranger, or whatever the fuck that guy's name was, who asks all those riddles.
No, this guy...
Good advisor.
This guy doesn't ask any riddles. Ronnie offers Rolf a gift of armor and weapons, but Rolf refuses. And this greatly offends Ronnie. And I know you didn't see this coming, Ronnie is Odin in disguise. And
oh my god, who would have suspected a one-eyed person in Norse mythology was Odin in disguise?
And Bjarki says, well, we pissed off Odin. Maybe we want to avoid getting into any major wars from here on out.
I think maybe that's something you should just do on principle, but okay.
So they get into another war.
Of course they do.
And this is going to be like the final battle. This one's not looking so good, guys. And Bjarki at this point, he is a badass. He has been the greatest of Rolf Krake's champions, arguably. Certainly the most memorable because he gets like a whole separate thing explaining his backstory. Rolf's doing not so good in this battle, but then the tide shifts because a weird giant bear has entered the fray on his side. And it's weird how no one has ever seen Bjarki and a giant bear in the same place at the same time. And one of Rolf's men goes to see why Bjarki is missing all this sweet bear action. And he finds Bjarki in some sort of meditative trance in the hall. And he wakes Bjarki up to tell him that there's this sweet bear out there killing everyone and they might not die. But when he wakes Bjarki up, the bear vanishes mysteriously and everyone is killed.
Wow. Maybe you should have put 2 and 2 together, you fucking idiot.
Yes, so at some point, Bjarki has the spirit of the bear. And he can send his spirit out of his body to do battle as a bear.
He can't just go back into the meditative stance real quick.
Nope. He ruined it.
He had a once per day casting limit, and his concentration was broken, so the spell failed.
I think it's implied that once the bear was kind of the only thing propping this up, and if the bear was gone for even 5 minutes, they were going to be overrun.
So why did you leave the battlefield to go find Bjarki, you idiot?
Because they're like, well, where's Bjarki? He's our main dude. You don't not play Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter or the second half. I don't know how professional basketball works. College basketball has halves. Which one has halves?
College basketball has halves. Speaking of college
oh
basketball,
Jesus.
Kentucky eliminated. Fucking hilarious. Fuck those guys. You have two of the worst senators. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, they do.
So you have Michael Jordan on the field, and then there's this guy on the bench who's like taking a nap, who's never seen the same room awake as Michael Jordan. I don't know where I'm going with this.
You're
This is
implying
weird,
that
Ben.
there's like some old bomber looking man
A bomber looking man
on the bench who is in a battle meditation, who has the spirit of Michael Jordan, has the spirit of the 1996 Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan. This is the second time, by the way, that we have talked about Michael Jordan on this Hobbit podcast, and I don't know why it keeps happening.
I didn't bring him up this time.
I have not thought about Michael Jordan in a decade. Oh my.
Cole.
Yeah, so that's the inspiration.
Any more sweet Tolkien lore?
I don't really have a lot on Beorn and the Beornings, other than that they are.
Well, in that case, you could talk about another thing, Ben.
What would you like me to talk about?
I could have sworn that Radagast was in the book for a brief moment. I think he might just be this mention one time by Gandalf to Beorn.
The only
and that's it.
on-screen thing I remember Radagast doing in the books, I think, is in Fellowship of the Ring when he takes a message to somebody for Gandalf.
Okay, maybe that's what I remember it from. Because I swore I remember Radagast was on screen at some point.
Yeah, I think he's in...
But he's only really mentioned once in this, and I think never again.
Yeah, and he's Gandalf's cousin in this.
Yeah,
I think before The Lord of the Rings was conceived, I think he was legit just Gandalf's cousin.
And now he's like his...
Now he's one of the 5 Istari sent from Valinor to aid mortal man in their quest against Sauron.
Yeah, so, like, why did the Istari send, like, a creature with bird shit directly on his face, Ben?
Well, he used to be a being, I mean, he still is kind of, but he was a being of pure spirit who could take any shape, but to come to Middle-earth as part of their deal...
He had to let a bird shit directly on his face?
They took humble
and never
form.
wash it off?
Also,
he took humble form. Okay.
Also, that's
right.
that's totally a movie thing, and he's not described as anything really.
like
he's just described as wearing brown.
He looks like he hasn't showered in a very, very long time.
He looks mysteriously like the
directly on his
7th Doctor Who. But yeah, no, that's another one where the role greatly expanded for the movies. They needed something to happen. Radagast is almost nothing in the books. It's just mentioned, like they took a couple of statements about him and stretched it into quite a bit. They took a statement that he became infatuated with the wildlife of Middle-earth.
Including their poop.
All of the Maiar,
especially their poop.
All of the Maiar kind of have a thing, like a domain. And this is more like in line with Greek gods than with Norse gods. But the Valar are the lowercase g gods. We talked about that. And so the Maiar that serve them are kind of like students underneath them almost. They specialize in the same sort of thing. So the Valar that Radagast served as a Maia was the god of nature, basically.
He's like, remember, Radagast, if a bird takes a poop on your beard, you leave it there, because it's a symbol of respect.
Radagast was sent to maybe try to use the flora and fauna of
Bees.
Middle Earth against.
Bees.
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Get those Beorn bees working. And then, could you give the ring to an eagle, Ben? Because an eagle is a soulless, godless abomination. So how can you even tempt such a thing with power?
I mean, you could still tempt. Like, okay, could you tempt a cat with power?
No.
Yes, absolutely.
My cat is too stupid to know.
One of my cats is too stupid. The other one would absolutely go for it.
Well, then you could easily just pull a golem and kick him into the crack, right? Just boop. He and the ring go in. Mission accomplished.
But I think, if you thought hard enough about like history, you could probably ask yourself these sorts of questions about a lot of things that were actually done.
Well, I think that the solution is people need to give me more power and money, and we'll see if I abuse it. I'm just saying that you can vote me in for president next election.
But depending on who's running, like, I could see my way to...
Couldn't be worse.
It could be, like, you literally couldn't be worse.
Nate 2028. It rhymes, and the slogan is, couldn't be worse.
What do you have to lose?
All right, is there anything else that we should talk about, or we should cut it there?
No, I think that's it. There's really not a ton to say about this. This is a simple little chapter that drops a lot of lore, kind of exists to expand the world, introduce
and
another...
just a lot of Beorn puns for some reason in the book. I don't get that one.
Yeah, those weren't there because I don't think it's pronounced Beorn.
Yeah, I think you're wrong though. So
argue about that in the comments, please. But that will bring us to an end for this episode of talking about Tolkien, Queer Lodgings, in which an angry bear...
Beorn to be wild.
If you want to get these episodes as soon as I'm done editing them, which this past week was a day late, I'm sorry, you can check out our Patreon. I will be doing something for the patrons to make it up to them that I was late. Not sure. I think I have an idea what that'll be, but check it out. Okay, bye.
Bye.